But riba, the topic, I think, very big lah. Really talk about riba.
Very big, and it's probably there's no one definite or just.
Yeah. Because now the common term is, most people just understand riba to be interest, but riba is
More than it.
just more than it, right? It's about the operation. So it's not just interest. Even taking advantage of people who cannot pay. You charge them late payment, that is a form of riba also. It's not that must be a interest, must be a percentage. So sometimes people charge late payment penalty. I cannot pay, then I need to pay more. There's even more operation just because I'm struggling. You take advantage to be able to charge more.
No, it's the irony.
Yeah.
People cannot pay, but you impose higher charges.
Yeah.
Even you are actually digging a deeper hole for them.
Correct.
So that's where the rich get richer lah.
Why give that person a stick if you can give a carrot?
Yeah. But of course, from the business standpoint, if you say capitalism mindset, they are arguing is that taking the risk lah. Kalau you tak bayar macam mana? Then there are people who you can say bad apples, they take advantage of it. Then okay lah, if there's no late payment, I delay payment lah. Suka hati you want to pay, right? I mean, you don't have to pay now. You can pay later, right?
If let's say that's where you talk about whether we can create that Islamic loan facility or so. That thought will come. Why do I need to pay given that there's no interest?
If let's say we give no interest or we don't charge for late, then will the people who borrow end up delay the payment purposely?
Unless you're saying there's going to be strict criteria lah of who I mean. So
there's a lot. There's where the challenges lies lah. That's why it's not as easy as people think. Like then if nak do a Islamic product, you can just follow the rules and then macam like that. Tak payah interest ke. It's not as easy as people think lah. There are so many layers. So if I give tak ada interest then or can pay as and when you like, of course people become complacent.
You want to help, at the same time you don't want the person to be complacent.
Sometimes people abuse the system. We come out with a good system, abuse, then end up orang tak bayar balik, then how? Yeah, because actually even when I research the Islamic way is in terms of loan, in terms of debt, or the Prophet shift the concept towards under charity. When you talk about debt, loans, these are all under charitable acts. It's no longer to monetize.
There is a saying that when you are giving someone a loan, actually at the back of your mind you must expect that the person couldn't pay back. Hence you will halalkan.
Yes, and then there's rewards for it lah, for helping people. So when people give up loans in his time, it's more towards they want to get the benefit of charity, which is higher than charity. So I'm helping them loan. So you cannot pay, never mind. I forgive. You don't need to pay me back. So that is like the change of mindset where he shifted from people lending to make money to lending for the sake of charity. So that is the Islamic concept that he started.
But is it
if you say want to put in practice, that's where I think if you expect banks to be able to do lending with the same concept, I think there's some form of clash lah. Because the banks by itself supposed to make profit, so it doesn't make sense for them to come out with a Islamic product for lending when the Islamic framework actually this is supposed to be something to do charitable to gain the rewards of the hereafter.
Is it permissible in the first place fundamentally for institutions to make money according to Sharia, according this model? So, a model that initially is based upon welfare and helping others, but making into a business model.
But where is the business part of lending without expecting return? Where's the business in that? I mean,
no, that one no issue. I think you're talking about the banks lending to make money lah.
Yes.
Then will be the clash.
Can the bank make money from other ways instead of from the borrower himself?
You mean engage in other ways to make money?
Yes.
That would be ideal lah.
But then it won't be a bank anymore. It will be a business.
Which is true like investments and all that.
Yes. The right way, of course, when you talk about business, then so how they are trying to shift the loan products as a Islamic product, they are moving more towards
investment,
towards business, which is trade. right? It's not actually a bank lah. Bank don't do that, right? Actually, technically, but the product is in such a way whereby it's more profit sharing, which is also Islamic way to do business lah. Meaning we don't, to be equal, or I come in as someone who provides you the funds, and then we profit share do business, right? Like for example, the Prophet, the wife Khatijah was his first investor. He put in the money, he will do the business, and then they share the profits, right? And so that is sort of the Islamic way of doing business. So now they shifted to macam the bank is your trading partner, right? They provide the funds, you buy the house, and then there's some form of profit sharing from there. So that's where sort of they try to make it halal in that sense lah. Means it's a trade. It's not a borrowing arrangement. It's a trade.
I think in Malaysia or maybe even some other countries, there's different models of how the lending of money happens. I mean, like whatever we talk about, lending without any sort of gains, like Qard Hasan, like just benevolent loan. All this kind memang tak ada, don't expect anything in return lah. But of course, like what you said, whatever that you mentioned, that loaning of money, and then there is a musyarakah or a arrangement between the bank and the business owner, whereby they share the profits of the business, which is ideal. Which means also there's an analysis of what is the money used for, not just pure lending. I give you, you want to return, you return. No such thing. So that means there's effort on both sides lah, in ensuring that
risk from both sides.
In order for that to happen, the purpose of the loan must be towards a business, not personal. Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, that is one of the ways they are administering the loan. So it's not necessary we have to think of business-wise, because for example, you talk about renovation loan just now, our original topic. What's the business of the bank in beautifying your house? Is it unless your house is being used as a collateral or even like a museum for people to come and visit. Otherwise, there's no money in that. But then of course, if you read up more, something a bit more sensitive, if you have heard of tawarruk. So there are I would say there are two sides of coins for this. Like some feel that it's okay to engage in tawarruk and all that. Some scholars don't agree with it lah. Maybe probably not the best time to share more about how tawarruk works, because it probably requires a proper illustration.
Technical.
A bit technical lah.
But about class.
But I mean, to be fair, I don't think Singapore has any of such. But I think what's more important is we have to keep an open mind that the lending facility is not just all about Qard Hasan, just loaning without interest. There's other arrangements that can possibly take place. So let's say, to answer your question whether Singapore can ever have this, I think we really need to look into things like establishing the criteria, who's fit to actually borrow.
Inshallah, the barakah movement.
InsyaAllah.
Please
donate to us. But yeah, I mean, that concept of lending money is similar to, and then coming into business like venture capitalism. Like them owning funds, and then I mean, have you watched things like Dragon Den, Shark Tank? It's a similar concept. I actually like that show a lot. Really makes me think about business ideas and why do people actually create certain things, and how they analyze whether a product is beneficial or not. That's our topic, but the concept is the same. I need some money, I give you how many % of my business.
Everyone wins.
And maybe we'll make our own Shark Tank.
Barakat.
I think that will be interesting. Actually, that will be nice. I think that will be nice to do, because we know of a lot of HBBs, small businesses who might need help financially. I think analysing their business and then seeing what we can offer to them, I think that's quite a good concept.
I mean, this is something also that, if obviously there is something that I want to work on also lah. Eventually. Maybe with TBM lah. InsyaAllah, which is why we created TBM also.
FOMO. Always FOMO. It's a business FOMO.
Because it's part of one of the three things lah. I mean, if we create a wakaf, I think that's where, in general, which is the way, personally from what I've researched, is the way where not just in international, the Muslim scene, I think they are now trying to revive the wakaf lah, which assisted during when the Muslims were during the golden age. We actually had wakafs that is so powerful that governments have to stop it lah. Actually,
correct.
so wakaf is actually I think people are seeing that the wakaf is actually the way to go in terms of solving all these issues, because the wakaf is something that you talk about more towards a charity sense. We are not trying to profit from it, but at the same time we are trying to serve the community to be able to provide for, it can start from just a small startup funds, or it can just be moving towards, like you say, maybe renovation loan, the kind of loans that we are doing not to make money, but it's kind of like a community thing, and everybody contribute to the wakaf. Who needs help, they draw from it lah. Use then slowly pay back lah. You pay back already, then another one. There's
Make your own bank.
Yeah, I mean it's not really a bank, because that's why it's a wakaf, like an endowment. If we make it sustainable, it means it will continue on even after we leave, and then it's like sedekah jariah, right? Because it's more like a community thing. Kita all contribute, then whoever needs that help, they will withdraw from the wakaf lah. But after that, slowly pay back, pay finish already, then you can help the next person one, right? Eventually, so it keeps on continue on and on lah. So which is something that it can only be done if the community as a whole, collectively, we create this economy. If we don't, then if we keep on relying on the Western, the banks, which all want to make a profit, I think you still go back to square one, where like you see, why would the banks withdraw products, Islamic products? Oh, there's not enough market for it. But that is a business decision lah, business sense lah. It makes business sense, but then it doesn't make religious sense, right? We need a product to ensure we are compliant to for the sake of for the akhirah. But they don't care about that, right? Say there's not enough money to be made out of this. We discontinue this product, right?
So you have already tried to explain the concept of wakaf. How does it in practical function? In what kind of form does it? Can it stand? Can it run? Or be established?
I mean, when established, of course, you need to build an ecosystem to make sure that it's sustainable lah. It can continue forever lah, which is more towards, like they say, the difference. I mean, just doing sadaqah one time and that's it. But it's something where you build a wakaf where it can keep on recycling itself, and then it's something in the long term, it benefits the community lah. So that there is many ways, of course, how you build it, how people contribute to it, and then how Islamically you can do it. Of course, I'm looking more towards the business side of things, maybe a business wakaf, and you'll be more towards like, if we sort of help a business, eventually, let's say we help one business, for example, they in dire need, we have the wakaf fund we spend, and then we get them out of that, either get them out of riba, for example, rather than they pay riba, might as well they get out of riba, and then they see benefit in it, they start making profits. Then what would they do? Eventually, since I benefited from this, part of my process, I keep on pledging back to that thing lah. They also get barakah, they pledge a certain amount, because without this support, I wouldn't have survived, for example. Then when they are doing better, they contribute back, then the wakaf will build up again lah. Then eventually we can, other businesses who need help, we contribute. Yeah, so it has to be a community thing lah. If we have enough businesses on board, then they can help the smaller businesses. Small businesses grow more, they return back a certain percentage back to the wakaf fund again. So like we say, you mentioned, like we invest in the company, then profit share, certain percentage comes back to the wakaf, then the wakaf can build up the funds again, can help the next business over and over lah. Yeah,
I think essentially macam like similar to basically the loan facility lah that we talk about. I mean, somebody who benefits from the loan can choose to of course the intention cannot be paying back more, in the sense more of like macam donating their earnings, their proceeds that will strengthen the fund to do more of this.
So it can be macam a VC structure also. It could be an equity investment rather than a loan, right? Equity investment means that you get a shareholding, and then then when they make profits, the money comes back into the funds lah. But we hold a certain percentage of the company lah. So they can choose like which is one way of Islamic funding, which is equity. If we loan, it's zero interest, maybe, but then there's no equity lah for that side. It's just when they return back the funds, then maybe out of they have benefited from it, they may donate back or contribute a certain donation, which is the things that we want to inculcate in all businesses also lah, to plan your donation, right? Which is, for me, is the things that we want to build and encourage in terms of Muslim business owners to also look at to budget for all these things also. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe some organizations are already having wakaf or endowment funds. But I think maybe not to such a great scale, or maybe using for their internal organizational use lah. I think what you're envisioning is something that benefits communities at a larger scale. I think the key challenge, of course, is the funds itself.
Yeah.
You can start by $100, you know.
Click on the link. Click on the link.
Click on the link to
subscribe
for us to to acquire that $100 or.
So that part, yeah, I mean that part there are a few angles, but I think we haven't reached that part yet to really want to look at. I mean, one way, of course, is we request for funds lah. We ask people to donate, or we ask business to donate. There's one way to build up the fund, but usually I'm not so keen on donations lah, collecting donations lah. It's like a one way thing lah. It's like you give me, you don't really get anything. The most to most is, if you want to do that, it's like you mentioned macam the doing marketing on the side is more macam for your akhirah you donate. So
I mean, we talk about
kind of thing
about sponsorships. I think ideally, you see the concept of donation. Of course, they cannot expect anything in return lah. That's what you say lah. That's why I think you say it's one way, but inshallah, I mean there's blessings that's coming from all directions from that donation.
So first of all, we start from, I mean, for me, what I'm building, of course, that one is the thing is a long-term goal, not macam immediately we straight away have build that wakaf, but it's more, because I'm running a business, so I'm focused to like put aside
Barakat Sharks.
Barakat Sharks.
BST sounds like is it a K-pop group? No.
BTS. Barakat Tank Sharks.
Barakat Tank Sharks.
So macam so I mean I will every year I will try to set aside a certain percentage for the funds lah. So make that intention. That's how also like I learn how to realign my business back towards for the sake of Allah, that this is something we want to achieve lah. So we need to, the more we make profits we are pushing aside to build up that funds, and then that's where I see a way lah, and we have this, we are in the right space to do a business wakaf because we provide services to businesses, right? So one of the things is that if they come on board into the ecosystem, of course they will also need our services. So it's also a way of protecting the funds, because like you mentioned, the difficulty in terms of kita loan, then what if the person the duit all spend finish, pergi holiday, macam mana, right? Then how that our wakaf macam mana kan? So, so there is macam the things that we protect in terms of providing services. We earn from services. That's how we replenish the funds back also, and also that's how we can build the ecosystem from lah. Eventually I see the more businesses are on board, the more businesses are contributing, the more businesses also use each other's services, and it grows everybody's business lah. So that's where all the information coming from, in terms of macam circulation of the wealth, circulation of money, things like that. That is where sort of I keep on learning in terms of all these areas where I see it relates to lah, back to the wakaf. So end of the day, it is something long term we need to build. inshallah it could be the legacy you leave behind lah. Because we leave behind, there's only few things we leave behind lah. Yeah, so one is of course sadaqah jariyah, if we can build that, and one of course is the education people learn from you, which is why we are doing this podcast. Yeah,
Beneficial
the other one
knowledge.
is your family lah, kan.
Yes.
Beneficial knowledge, sadaqah. So if this is the three we work on towards our life, then yeah, we really align everything back for one purpose, and then I think we just live a fulfilling life in trying to achieve it lah.